it differs from network theory? Transmission line theory is different from circuit theory, no? In which way? Last class we saw few points related to the transmission theory, transmission line theory, isn't it? See, we have seen the difference between network theory or circuit theory with the transmission line theory. So how will you consider the elements in the network theory? The components RLCG, how will it be? Those are all. Can you see in circuit theory? Can you see the components?
Ma'am, in network theory, we can see the components. In
Yes.
transmission, the wire only will do
Yes.
it.
Good. See, in network theory, we physically see the components, and we are able to locate the, able to measure the, we are able to know the value of the component we are working with. Okay. But in transmission line theory, because we consider the frequency, okay, increase in frequency, the length of the line is coming in on the order of wavelength. Okay, as frequency increases, lambda decreases, wavelength decreases. So the length of the line is coming in comparable to the order of wavelength. So the line inherent properties, some properties of the line is having effect over the signal. Okay, so that we can equivalently draw in terms of a circuit where we can equate to RLCG. Okay, so here we are considering about the distributed parameters. All the components are distributed along the length of the line. Whether you take 1 meter of a line or 1 mm of a line, these components are present. Okay, these components are present in a distributed manner. Okay. Okay, so in order to deliver power and to connect source to the load, we use transmission lines. Okay. So at microwave frequency region, power is considered to be in electric and magnetic fields that are guided from place to by some physical structure, and that we call it as wave. And in general, a physical structure that will guide an electromagnetic wave place to place, that we call it as transmission line. Okay, so here you are seeing the circuit. So in this circuit, which are the parts you are seeing? You are seeing a generator circuit, okay, load circuit. So in between, these two are connected using a transmission line. Okay, so in between, transmission line is present. So it is connecting a source to a load. Okay. Similarly, this is the case for your DTH antenna. For the DTH antenna will be the for your home TV system. DTH antenna is the source. Okay, so that is connected to the TV receiver. Okay, TV receiver via a transmission line. So here generally we have drawn how a transmission line is connecting a source with the load. So here we are seeing a source and this is the load. In circuit theory, you will be knowing about how will you draw ideally the voltage source and current source. Okay, those things. So this voltage source will be having some source resistance that is mentioned here as RG. Okay, we mentioned the circuit as generator circuit. Okay, so the voltage we represent as VG and the source generator resistance as RG, and it is connected to the transmission line. This is sending end port. A pair of terminals we use for giving input to the transmission line, that we can also call it as port. Okay, so normally port is a place where the transactions are happening. Okay, similarly here the input is going to the transmission line via this port, and this is getting the input, so it is a sending end port. And here on the other side of the transmission line is the receiving end. So we call that as the receiving end port. It is connected to the load. Okay, the load we mentioned as RL. Okay, the load we mentioned as RL. So generally, a transmission line is a two-port network connecting a generator circuit at the source end to a load at the receiving end. And unlike in circuit theory, the length of a transmission line is of utmost importance in transmission line analysis. So these are the different types of transmission lines. Okay. For example, we have open wire line, twisted pair cable, and this is for connecting the internet. We use RJ45 cable, know that one, and this is coaxial cable. These are waveguides. So these are the some examples for transmission lines and waveguides. And for planar, here also we are seeing some kind of cables. And for planar transmission lines, these are examples. So a planar transmission line, simply it will connect to source and load. It will connect components, or sometimes that line will also be making as one component, will be made as one component. Okay, this type of circuits you will be studying in your 7th semester. Okay. So the key difference between circuit theory, okay, we call the theory circuit theory or network theory, both mean the same. Okay, the key difference between circuit theory and transmission line theory is electrical size. Okay, we mean electrical size. We are going to talk in terms of lambda. Okay, so we are coming out of the notation meter, centimeter to in terms of lambda, that we, and electrical size we will be discussing about the phase. Okay. Okay, this about this we will see in the next class. Circuit analysis. How circuit analysis? Circuit analysis assume that the physical dimensions of the network are much smaller than the electrical wavelength, while transmission lines may be a considerable fraction of a wavelength or many wavelengths in size. Okay, this is the major difference. Thus, a transmission line is a distributed network, parameter network, where voltages and currents can vary in magnitude and phase over its length. While ordinary circuit analysis deals with lumped elements where voltage and current do not vary appreciably over the physical dimension of the elements. And about frequency and wavelength, you know. Okay, so frequency is the number of waves that pass a fixed point in unit time. Its unit is hertz, and wavelength is the distance between two identical points in the adjacent cycles of a waveform. Okay, the distance between two identical points in the adjacent cycles of a waveform, that we call it as wavelength. So two identical points, we can take peak or we can take crest or at the 0 point. Okay, wherever we want, that distance we denote as wavelength. And you know the relation between frequency and wavelength. So for the frequencies, if we calculate wavelength, we will be getting these values. See, here I for the circuit, transmission line and waveguide, what is the relation with lambda? Okay, wavelength, that is mentioned in this slide. Here you see, this is the example for circuit theory. We have R1, R2 lumped resistances. Okay, here if you consider the length of the circuit, okay, entire length of the circuit, it is very less than lambda. Okay, so here we are dealing with lumped circuits, that is circuit theory or network theory. But in transmission line, you see, in transmission lines, here you have generator and the other side you have load, if you see the length of the transmission line, that L is greater than lambda. Okay, but in circuit theory, L is very less than lambda. In transmission line, it is greater than lambda, and the distance between the two conductors may be very less than lambda, but the length of the line is greater than lambda. That is why we are considering the presence of RLCG distributed along the length of the line. And this is for waveguide. So as far as waveguide is concerned, L also very greater than lambda and D also greater than lambda. So this is the cross section of a waveguide. So for waveguide, D also greater than lambda and L also very greater than lambda. And the same thing I mentioned in terms of table. See, if it is L very less than lambda, we consider lumped circuits. We can apply Kirchhoff's law. If L greater than lambda, then transmission lines we need to consider and we can apply Kirchhoff's laws. If L is very greater than lambda, D is also greater than lambda. That is, D is the distance between two conductors. Okay. That time we need to consider waveguides and we need to apply Maxwell's equations. So about the Maxwell's equations you will be studying in electromagnetic fields. Okay, in that subject you will be studying. And if L is very less than lambda, we consider the unknowns in terms of only time, V of t, I of t. Okay, we will be calculating voltage, time as well as transit time effects. Okay, but if it is L greater than lambda, then we need to consider the Z also. Z is the distance. Okay, V of Z comma t, I of Z comma t. For waveguide, we will be considering the fields, E field, H field. Its spatial and time related properties we will be seeing. Okay, and which are the mathematical equations we will be using? For circuit theory, we will be dealing with ODE. For transmission line theory, we will be using PDE. And for waveguides, we will be considering everything as vectorial representation and we will use PDE. Okay. So for circuit theory, all points react to the source instantly. We consider all points react to the source instantly. And for transmission line, a delay along the longitudinal direction axis, direction exists that we consider. And for waveguide, delay along the longitudinal and transverse directions exists. This fact also we will be considering. The main difference between the circuit theory and the transmission line theory is the length of the line is in the order of lambda. So we consider the parameters are distributed along the length of the line. Okay, there are many different types of transmission lines. Picture. A two-wire line, twisted pair, coaxial cable, waveguide. So waveguide also we have many types, rectangular, circular, and we have planar transmission lines. In that we have many different types, strip line, micro strip line, slot line, fin line, coplanar waveguide, coplanar slot line. And these are all another images. Okay, so this is the coaxial line. And this is two-wire line. This is parallel plate waveguide. This is micro strip line, and this one is waveguide. So the distributed parameter can be drawn in terms of one equivalent circuit. Okay, a transmission line can be drawn in terms of equivalent circuit. Okay, so that equivalent circuit, if we draw, we will be having R, L, G, C like this. Okay, how we are getting R? Okay, how we are getting L, G, C? Everything we should know. Okay, So that we will see now. First, we will see inductance. So when the conductors carry the current, okay, in the EMF, you are going to study about Ampere's law. Okay, so any current carrying conductor will be surrounded by a magnetic field, isn't it? In 12th physics also you have studied. Current carrying conductor will be surrounded by the magnetic field. Okay, so that effect will lead to some inductance. Okay, when the conductors carry the current, the magnetic flux is produced around the conductors. It depends on the magnitude of current flowing through the conductors. The flux linkages per ampere of current. Okay, the flux linkages per ampere of current gives rise to the effect called inductance of a transmission line. That is why inductance of a transmission line comes to play. Okay, flux linkages per ampere of current gives rise to the effect called inductance. Okay, so we have to include the inductance effect while drawing the equivalent circuit of a transmission line, and it is also distributed all along the length of the transmission line. It is denoted as L and measured in Henry per unit length. Okay, Henry per unit length. So in circuit theory, you will be using inductor. You will be giving one notation only Henry. But here it is a distributed parameter. So the unit we consider as Henry per unit length. Then the next element present in the transmission line, okay, we need to consider is the capacitance. Okay, so here the transmission line is having two wires. Okay, whether it is a open wire transmission line or a coaxial cable or any kind of transmission line, there are two wires present. In between, dielectric will be present. Okay, so it relates to capacity effect, isn't it? So you already have studied about parallel plate capacitor, isn't it? So similarly here in transmission line also we are experiencing capacitive effect. Okay, so the transmission line consists of two parallel conductors separated by dielectric like air. Such parallel conductors separated by an insulating dielectric produces a capacitive effect. Due to this, there exists a capacitance associated with the transmission line, which is also distributed along the length of the conductor. So it is denoted as C and measured in farad per unit length. So for ideal case, if we draw the equivalent circuit of a transmission line, we will be having L, and C. This is the case for ideal transmission line. Ideal transmission line will be having L in series, C in parallel. Okay. But what the wire we consider is not entirely conducting. Okay, there may be some resistive component associated with it. Okay, so it cannot be, it is not having infinite conductivity. Okay, so resistivity equal to RA by L, isn't it? RA by L. So we can, as per with the area cross sectional area of the conductor and length of the conductor, there will be some resistance present in the line. So we need to consider the resistance also. And in the capacitance, there is a dielectric. Okay, this dielectric also not ideal. Okay, dielectric also there will is not ideal. So we need to consider the presence of G. Okay, so conductors are not infinite conductivity, so we are considering R, and the capacitor dielectric is not ideal. Okay, so we consider G. That is why the transmission line equivalent circuit is drawn in the form of RLCG like this. Okay. Ideal transmission line we can draw as having only L and C. But the practical, this is the case for ideal and this is for practical. For practical transmission line, we need to draw equivalent circuit as or LCG like this. Okay, and where it is present as distributed component over the length of the line. Okay, whether you consider 1 meter length or 1 millimeter length, these are distributed along the length of the line. That's why we are giving everything unit in terms of unit length. Resistor means ohm per unit length. Inductance means Henry per unit length. And capacitance farad per unit length. And this is conductance mho per unit length. Okay. Is it clear to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Yes.
why R and L are in series but capacitor alone is in parallel?
The capacitive effect we have between we have two lines. In between there is a dielectric present. Okay. So the capacitive effect we consider we have between two wires only. No. So it is in parallel.
Okay.
Good. And for any of the transmission line, okay, here I have given the example of coaxial cable, two-wire line, parallel plate line. It's construction detail, okay, but construction, what is the in inner conductor diameter radius, outer conductor radius for the coaxial cable. Then in that case, what will be the values of L, C, or G are given. Okay, in terms of these are all equations. Okay, but this is not much related to the concepts which we are going to see in our subject. But for every transmission line, we have some kind of equations related to the constructions. Okay. Here the coaxial cable, inner conductor, outer conductor. So inner conductor radius A, outer conductor radius B. So relating these parameters, we can write the equation for L, C, or G this way. Similarly, for two-wire line, we have equations. Parallel plate, we have equations.
Ma'am.
Yes.
Only one wire means no capacitance. Huh?
One wire.
Transmission line can have one wire only also, right?
No. Transmission lines will always have two lines. Wherever you take, that will have two lines.
Yeah, but like you're saying one will be phase, other will be neutral like
Yes.
that.
Yes.
But neutral we can keep it in some other corner. Phase will bring from other corner. There will be a lot of space between them. Will it act as a capacitor?
No, this is we are not meaning the closed circuit, or we are not telling about the power transmission, isn't it? Here we consider the signal transmission at a high frequency. So those will be two lines only. Where have you seen only one line?
I don't know. I've not actually seen.
Yeah, there will be two lines.
Okay.
Okay.
Why are the two wires actually?
See, we need to give signal to the transmission. Okay. So to the two pair of line only will make a input port to the transmission line. So to connect the signal to the transmission line, we need two lines.
Oh. Okay. Why do we need that two ports? I don't understand all this actually. All I know is this power transmission cables.
Okay, I will elaborate this concept in the next class.
Okay.
See, this is the equivalent circuit of a transmission line or LGC. Okay, see here, we are considering the length of the transmission line as delta Z. So the value of R we consider as R delta Z. Okay, all the quantities we consider as per unit length. So for delta Z length, so the R value will be R delta Z. Similarly, L value is L delta Z. Similarly for other components. Okay. And we have seen this RLCG, isn't it? So these are called primary constants of a transmission line. Are called primary constants of a transmission line, and these will not vary with the frequency. From that, we will be deriving some other constants. Those are called secondary constants. In that, we have characteristic impedance. So this characteristic impedance is defined as the ratio of magnitude of voltage and current waves in an infinite transmission line at zero reflection wave condition. Okay, so about reflection and all we will be seeing in the subsequent classes. Okay, so in the pipe leakage case also I told so when the pipe is not properly fixed, there will be some leakage. Similarly, a transmission line is not properly connected to the load, that time there will be some reflections. Okay, that reflected signals may also travel in the opposite direction to the signal traveling direction. Okay. But this characteristic impedance we calculate as the ratio of magnitude of voltage to current waves in an infinite transmission line, at zero reflection wave, condition. See, the impedance is the ratio between voltage to current. Here, this impedance tells the characteristics of a transmission line. Okay, so we are giving a special name called characteristic impedance, and it is the ratio of magnitude of voltage and current waves in an infinite transmission line. For ideal, see, if it is this, I am telling if there is a mismatch, there will be some reflection that is propagating, that is also traveling opposite to the direction of a signal transmission. Okay, signal transmission. But if the line is of infinite magnitude, there are the reflected wave will not reach the source. Okay, so with that assumption, we will be calculating the value of characteristic impedance. That is why it is defined as the ratio of magnitude of voltage and current waves in an infinite transmission line at zero reflection wave condition. In general, initially there are no reflecting waves in the transmission line. The impedance calculated at this condition is characteristic impedance. And this is related to the primary constants this way. Okay, so normally we call this series impedance as R plus j omega L. That we denote as series impedance, and shunt admittance we call it as G plus j omega C. So Z0 can be written as root of Z by Y, or root of R plus j omega L divided by G plus j omega C. So in this, any doubt? we have secondary constants. Okay, we have characteristic impedance that is denoted as Z naughts, and we are going to see about one more constant. Okay, so that secondary constant is derived using this formula. See here, this is impedance. Okay, so impedance is here also. Here we have the RLCG effects. Okay, in that instead of drawing the circuit this way, elaborating RL, it can also be drawn as Z series impedance and Y shunt admittance. Okay, so this Z will be R plus J omega L, and Y is G plus J omega C. Okay, so from that we are deriving the secondary constants characteristic impedance Z naught. Then the next one is the propagation constant. So it is a measure of changes in a sinusoidal electromagnetic wave in terms of amplitude and phase while propagating through a medium. See, the medium could be a free space or the transmission line, but how it is the sinusoidal electromagnetic wave is changed, its phase, amplitude and phase is changed, that we can get to know using propagation constant. Okay, so it is a measure of changes in a sinusoidal electromagnetic wave in terms of amplitude and phase while propagating through a medium. So this can be a transmission line or a free space. The propagation constant is a dimensionless quantity. For a transmission line, we denote in terms of per unit length. The propagation constant can be written as simply root of Zy. Z is the series impedance, Y is the shunt admittance. And it is a complex quantity. And this one also, this Z naught also a complex quantity. Okay, there will be real and imaginary parts. Here, this propagation constant also a complex quantity having alpha plus J beta. In this alpha, we denote as attenuation constant. Okay, alpha we denote as attenuation constant. The real part of the propagation constant is the attenuation constant and is denoted here. It causes a signal amplitude to decrease along a transmission line. Okay, signal. See, we are sending some 10 volt signal. Okay, for example. Okay, for considering the 10 volt. So will we get all that? Will we get the 10 volt signal in the receiving side? Will we get? No. Okay, because the line is having some kind of losses. Okay, for a lossless line we may get, but practically the lines are not lossless, so there will be some decrease. So how we attribute that decrease? That we denote using attenuation constant. So it causes a signal amplitude to decrease along a transmission line, and the unit of this attenuation constant is Nepers per unit length, and it can be converted to dB. Okay. So if we multiply Neper value by 8.686, we get value in terms of dBs. See, the attenuation, we have two units, dB per unit length or Neper per unit length. If you want to convert Neper into dB, then the Neper value multiply with 8.686. Okay, so why it is 8.686? You go through. If anyone knows, you can tell now. While converting the unit from Neper to dB, why are we multiplying with the 8.686? Okay, you go through and answer me in the next class. The next one, phase constant. So the propagation constant we have written as alpha plus J beta. Okay, so this beta is denoted as phase constant. So denoted adds the imaginary component. It determines the sinusoidal amplitude or phase of the signal along a transmission line at a constant time. How a phase of a signal is changing, we can know from the phase constant. The phase constant unit is radian per unit length. Okay, the phase constant unit is radian per unit length. A transmission line of length L will have an electrical phase of beta L. Okay, a transmission. This here also the everything we denote using per unit length. If a transmission line is having length L, then the electrical phase of a line will be beta L. Electrical phase of a line will be beta L, and its unit is radian per meter. If we want to convert to degrees, we need to multiply by 180 by pi. Is secondary constants understood?
Ma'am,
Yes.
phase constant is degree by which the phase will change when it goes through transmission line.
It determines the sinusoidal signal phase of the signal. Okay. So how it is varying, phase of the signal, how it is varying is there. We can understand from the phase constant.
Oh, okay. Ma'am, this propagation constant is dimensionless, but this alpha and beta, they have per meter and all. But they are
Propagation constant, see, propagation constant equation itself root of z by y. See, sorry, root of zy. See, z unit is ohm and its unit is 1 by ohm. Cancelled, no.
yes,
So the propagation constant is unitless, but we denote per unit length. What is the propagation constant value per unit length we denote? And see, we cannot consider the dB as unit. For unitless quantity only, we tell in terms of dB. Okay. So this constant, this is attenuation constant. So this alpha is attenuation. For unitless quantity, 10 log of that value, if we take, we get the value in dB, isn't it? So similarly, the attenuation is having one more special unit, NEP. And this is phase. Okay. This phase change, how will we say? We will tell in terms of radian or degrees. So normally, if we calculate the complex this propagation constant from this equation, okay, that will be telling the change in radian per meter, radian per unit length. That's why we are having unit.
Okay.
Any other doubt? Okay. Now, I already told you people to put one separate notebook for my subject, transmission lines and waveguides, and you need to have a calculator, as well as I told you to buy Smith chart and keep it with you. Okay. When we complete the unit 1, from unit 2 onwards, we will be working out problems using Smith chart. Okay. Now, all of you take this problem and tell me the answer for series impedance, shunt impedance, and Z0 propagation constant. See here, per unit for per unit length, the resistance in the transmission line is given as 6 ohms. I have omitted units here. But okay, I will write ohm per unit length, and this impedance is 0.2 milli per unit length. Then C is point, not 5 microfarad per unit length, and G is 0.25 micro mho per unit length, and frequency is 1000 hertz, and omega is angular frequency, that is 2 pi Hz. And we need to find Z, Y, Z0 and propagation constant. Okay, what are the values provided are given? You solve this problem and tell me. Should I tell or will you be able to do?
This is 2.4 India.
That is inductor. Lily.
We don't need length.
Not required here. Yeah, all of you enter your roll number in chat box for attendance. Anybody got the answer? Okay, you tell me the answer in tomorrow's class. I already gave you one question. Okay, what is the conversion from dB to NIPERS? Okay, and the second one is this problem. Third one, I told R, L, C, G, R primary constants. Okay, primary constants, and it won't vary with frequency. It won't vary with frequency. But we have secondary constants Z0 and propagation constant. What is its relation with frequency? Whether it is depending on frequency or it is not it does not depend on frequency. Okay, so about this you need to tell me tomorrow. We are telling primary constants and secondary constants, out of which primary constants are not depending on frequency. Okay, but what is the effect of frequency for the secondary constants? You analyze and tell me tomorrow. Okay, any other doubt? Shall we wind up?
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you, students.
Thank you,
Thank you,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.